Hi guys, welcome back to Suero TV. I'm Lordak Pata, your host with the most. We are continuing with our general financial literacy education. You know how I do it every other week. Today we're going to be talking about the Bank of Botswana interest rates reduction that has recently happened. And here I have Kaone Kebonang, who is a research analyst here at Imara Capital Securities. Welcome, Kaone.
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome into the Suero TV. Today we're actually going to be talking about, we're going to be asking you about the interest rates. Yeah, but first, what do you do here at Imara? Please tell us what you do.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm an equity research analyst. My core function ultimately is to analyze the Botswana stock market and economic trends and to identify emerging opportunities, growth prospects, and possibly evaluate risk as well of the listed stocks.
Yeah.
From there, I then come up with a valuation using financial modeling tools.
Yeah.
And I derive value of the company and come up with an investment recommendation based on whether there's upside potential or downside potential. So simply put, I study the stock market and economic trends and value the companies listed, see whether they're overpriced or underpriced, and then ultimately make investment recommendations to our clients as to which stocks to buy or to sell or to hold.
Yeah. So basically what then you do is, if I come in as Lorato, you are definitely informed on the best places or the best companies to invest in.
Right.
You guys will have to say, oh, no, this is the best, this is not the best, this is performing this way. As I come in as Lorato and I say, oh, I want to invest in this particular company, you should be able to be in a position and say, well, maybe not. Oh, yes, actually, that's a good idea. Maybe let's do this. You are the person who can give that information.
Absolutely.
That's what you are there for. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So it's super important that we say, when you actually do invest in the stockbrokers, through the stockbrokers into the stock exchange, there is a research analyst behind the scenes who actually does the research for you, the investor, so that when you actually do invest, they can actually say this is the best. No, yes, because there's somebody behind the scenes doing it, right?
That's
your
accurate.
Role. Yes.
Very on point.
Yeah, but today we're not talking about that. Today we're talking about the Bank of Botswana interest rates reduction that has recently happened. It happened a few months ago, and it has happened again, right? First, let's just explain what interest rates are for Botswana. How the Bank of Botswana interest rates? What are we talking about?
Right. When we're talking of an interest rate, we're talking of the charge that the lender will charge you as the borrower for using their assets, right? It's normally expressed in percentage terms of the principal. Now, the assets could be broad. It could be cash, it could be consumer goods, it could be large assets. Ultimately, the interest rate that I charge you as a lender is to compensate me for, the loss of revenue streams I possibly could have incurred or registered rather, had I not given you the asset to use. So normally interest rates go in sync with the riskiness of the asset. So if the asset is more risky, the interest rates will probably be higher. And if it's less riskier, obviously the interest rates would be lower. And we see this, if I was to give an example with the bank, your mortgage rate would be much lesser than your personal loan or credit card interest rate, because the mortgage is secured with an asset, right? And so it's deemed to be less riskier. And
because of that.
So it's basically what the lender charges the borrower for the right to use the asset. So for the banks, they're charging you because you're using their money. It's not your money.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a way to compensate the lender for potential loss of revenue streams from them giving you the asset
the comfort of you accessing the whatever that you want to use the money for. Easily. They've given you that money, so they are compensating themselves with it.
So the one that you are referencing is the bank rate, right? So that's the rate in which the central bank charges the domestic banks, the commercial banks. But that the commercial interest rates that the end user will use are normally linked to the bank rate. So when we're talking of the cut, we're talking of that particular rate in which the central bank charges the commercial banks. And then normally our interest rates as the end users are what we call prime plus, right? And prime is 1.5% more than the bank rate. So, I mean, they're directly linked, sure, but the bank rate is less than what you'll get charged as the consumer.
And the consumer. So the consumer gets charged the prime.
Well, normally the rates are prime plus something, right? If you have a mortgage, normally it's a variable kind of interest rate. You'll find it's prime plus 3, for example, right? So prime is 1.5% more than the bank rate. So it's at 5.25 now, right? And so, but yeah, it depends if you have a fixed interest rate kind of agreement with the bank or if you have a variable one. But the one that is normally there is variable. It's linked to prime.
All right. Let's link it to what about now when you are investing? Does this interest rate changes actually affect when now you are investing in the returns of let's say I have a savings in the bank, you know, or a savings anywhere else within locally. Does it actually now affect my savings?
Absolutely.
Because I think this time we talked about the lending. So let's talk about the return. Does it also affect that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you have your traditional saving account in a commercial bank, it means because interest rates are low, it means you're earning less ultimately compared to a high rate environment, interest rate. So yes, it's true that your savings, you're definitely going to earn less than what you would have earned because obviously the rate that your bank would give you, the return, would probably be linked to prime.
Absolutely.
Unless if you have a fixed agreement with the bank, which is not
like
likely.
You're saying,
but you will earn less. But there are other investment opportunities out there, you know. Well, you can also negotiate with your bank. Because,
actually, thank you for mentioning that, because it's actually very important for people to know that these are actually negotiable. You can actually negotiate interest rates, whether you're borrowing or actually investing into the bank. Yeah,
absolutely. Because listen, the bank needs deposits, right? They fund their loan book through deposits mainly. So your savings matter to the bank.
So they should be open to negotiate.
So they don't. But it depends who you are and
how much.
Exactly. Because if you're saving 100 pula, you can't go to.
You need to have money that can start negotiating.
That's very true. So if you are in a position where, but you know, it's worth a try. Okay, what is it that you can offer me? Look, there's this asset that is offering me this yield, and I'm thinking of moving my money. So you can negotiate with banks, but you have to know your position as well, to be fair. You know,
absolutely.
But there are other investment opportunities. You'll find that the money market, for example, generally offers higher rates than your traditional savings. You'll find that in such times maybe bond yields become a little bit more attractive compared to your interest rate from your savings account. You'll find you can go into the stock market. There are undervalued, high yielding assets there. So you can go and look. I mean, some of our stocks, well, the general dividend yield, the market average is around 4%, which is still less than prime. But you do have assets that
you can invest in besides.
I mean, there's stocks that actually yield BOMA 16%. So you just have to be really informed as to what your options are, right? And negotiate from that aspect, right?
Absolutely. Right. So what do you think the strategy is here? With now Botswana, the Bank of Botswana has actually reduced the interest rates. That means your savings are going to go lower. Obviously, not necessarily your savings, but your return on your savings are going to go lower because it has reduced them. But that means you now, the lending part of it, you're going to pay less, right? What do you think the strategy there is with Bank of Botswana for the economy?
Okay. So we have to understand that the central bank's monetary policy, the primary objective is to attain price stability.
Yeah.
And when we say price stability, here we mean the sustainable level rather of annual inflation.
Yeah.
And it's measured by the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, which, it measures the level at which prices increase for goods here.
Yeah.
So interest rates and inflation rates have an inverse relationship. Normally the bank will take such action when they want to stimulate economic activity, right? So now let's say you have a facility and interest rates are lower. It means you have got more money in your pocket. So now it means you can spend more, right? Or invest more. Yeah, so the point is to stimulate economic activity. Now as a business, you have access to capital at a lower cost of borrowing, right? So you can
well as a business, not as
just an individual.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, so the point is our economy right now, we all know, COVID-19 pandemic and the containment measures have really depressed economies, not just us.
Not just Botswana.
The global economy is expected to contract by 4.9%.
Yeah.
Botswana, our ministry forecasted contraction of around 9%. No, actually it's 8%. And then IMF forecast a contraction of around 9.6% for Botswana, for our domestic economy. So clearly we're in a downturn, right? And so the central bank will try and step in to try and come up with ways to underpin some sort of growth, right? And when there's aggregate demand, that tends to be positive, right?
For the economy.
Yeah, so it's to stimulate the economy, right? This is not unique to Botswana. We have seen South Africa cut its bank rate. I think in July it's around 3.75%, actually 3.5%. We've seen Nigeria cut their interest rates. We've seen Namibia. US Fed rates are at zero. The European Central Bank's rate is also at zero. So we're seeing central banks rather step in and offer a dovish interest rate environment to try and stimulate the economy. Because due to COVID-19, the pandemic and the containment measures, economic activity has really, really slowed. So it's all to increase activity and to increase aggregate demand. If Botswana have got more money in their pockets, then they will spend more.
Basically, I wanted us to get there. What does that mean by increasing activity in the economy? It means, basically what that means for the listener out there or for the viewer out there is that what Kaone is basically saying is when the interest rates have been reduced and you're paying less, your loan you're going to pay less, it means you have more money in your pocket. And once you have more money in your pocket, you can spend money. And when you're spending money in the economy, that is actually boosting the economy. When you're actually going shopping, when you're going to buy groceries, it boosts the economy. Or you're able to get other goods and services. It boosts the economy, and therefore whoever you are buying from can employ more people, or does not have to retrench, or doesn't, because now we are having more spending power. Or it can mean you're investing.
As a business now you have access to that capital
as well to boost your business.
So our CPI right now, just to put things into perspective for the Botswana at home, is our CPI right now is 1.8%. The central bank has an objective range. They want us to be at between 3 and 6%. So we're far below that. And so the point is, interest rates decrease, inflation increases.
Of course. I mean, obviously, because people it's going to be more demand.
But this is the theoretical.
Doesn't necessarily mean it will happen.
There are other factors
that go in
that affect inflation. But in theory, that's one of the tools. But obviously we also have wages. If we have increases of wages, people have more money and therefore spend more, right? So we have interest rates, we have wages, we have also the monetary supply in the country. If it's more, if there's more supply of money in the country, then aggregate demand goes up, right? So there are other tools, but this one is. But we have seen the wage increases for the government employees as
recently,
well. And so we're trying to. Well, we're seeing the central bank really try to get our inflation up a bit.
Okay. So getting the inflation up a bit. Is that a good thing?
So there's two sides to inflation, right? There's demand pull, which is the good one, where there's an increase in aggregate demand. People have got more money in the country. Standard of living is good in the country. But we also have cost push inflation. That is where prices increase, not based on demand, but increased based on the production costs, right? So maybe if we have higher oil prices, right? Or if we have a devaluation of our currency, that means imports are more expensive. So the same goods you're buying at your retailer, because remember we import most of our things, right? So you're going to buy for more because it's more expensive for the supplier to import, right? If the government was to increase VAT,
for instance,
or excise duty, that will increase the prices, but it's not reflective of people's affordability or people's standard of living. That is why, as much as we wanted to cross the 3%, we want to cap it at 6%, because now we don't want hyperinflation. I think we've seen in countries like Zimbabwe. That's when things are out of control. So inflation is something where you have to really get a balance.
So that's what the Bank of Botswana is trying to do.
They're pushing the demand side, where demand will pull the economy up. Right, that's the good inflation that we want at a reasonable range. Okay. So, I hope that's
actually quite. I mean, now what do we advise Botswana to do when something like this happens? Let's say we understand the strategy of Bank of Botswana and what they're trying to do, but what do we advise Botswana when they have more money in their pocket? Now, let's just advise them as an individual. I'm Lorato, I'm earning this much, and I've been paying a loan of 2,000 pula. Now it's going to be maybe 1.3. Now I have 700 pula extra on me. What do we advise Botswana to do in that aspect? To help both help them individually as well as help, because we have to be involved in boosting the economy as well as Botswana. What can we do as Botswana? I'm sitting here. How can I help as well in my individual capacity to ensure that the economy is also boosted? To help in ensuring that at least my livelihood is okay, and help strategic decisions there. And us as individuals in our corners, we are not contributing, or we don't even know what our role is as Botswana. What can we advise them?
I know it's quite an attractive idea to go and to run to the banks and get more loans, because now you think you're going to be paying less. I would advise Botswana to exercise caution, because remember that this is a short-term tool that the central bank uses. Once the economy reverts back to normal levels,
interest rates
are going to come back. So you don't want to find yourself in a position where you're taking a loan unnecessarily and you might not have the same affordability in the future, because what's going to happen is you're really going to be heavily indebted. So we don't want that. Exercise caution. If you do as a business, of course, if you have plans for that money, sure.
Particularly as a business. Because as a business as well, exercise caution.
Yes.
And also, can you really afford it? It's being encouraged to boost your business, but can you afford it? Don't put yourself into situations or debt that you actually cannot necessarily even afford, even though it looks good now, like you're saying, much later it might actually kill. So you need to be able to draw focus, because the first thing that obviously the banks do when you actually ask for a loan, they want your financial focus. Do your focus, are they realistic? Because that's another thing that we're just drawing focus to make it look good so that we can access loans. That's the attitude sometimes that we will have. We need to draw realistic focus. Are you sure you're going to be able to afford that loan? Not only when interest rates have been adjusted, within 6 months, are you still going to be able to afford that loan, to pay it back, etc.? Because you don't want to get yourself in that type of trouble, because they are going to come for that money.
Yeah, and the banks also, I think what we're seeing is they're definitely taking a more cautious approach, because these are risky assets, right? And so look, our economy is not growing as aggressively as it used to, in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Employment is still at an all-time high in Botswana. Unemployment. And also income rates, incomes are not growing, to be fair, as they used to. And so banks as well are taking quite a cautious approach in terms of how much they're actually lending people,
and who,
right? And so that's the first thing I would say to Botswana: exercise caution. If you don't need the loan, there's no need for you to go out there and get it, because trust me, once the economy reverts and we have global demand and our mining output is there and our tourism is open to
everything
foreigners,
is coming back to normal.
Reality is going to kick in,
including oil prices.
So that's the thing. So that's the first thing. Now, if you're a saver, see if you can negotiate with your bank. But remember what I said: know your position in life. But also be informed, right? Go out there and find out what investments opportunities are there in Botswana, because I feel like Botswana, some asset classes, like when you think of stocks, you think of, you have to be, it's for the elite, it's for a certain class of people, which is completely wrong. So with that extra 700 pula that you're referencing, try investing in a stock. Try and see, the money markets out there, I know they, unit trust that you can invest in. Make informed decisions. So if you have more money, I like investments. I work in investments,
of course.
So I always want, I'd rather you invest rather than blow it.
Which is a good thinking. That we're trying to encourage.
Because we want people's wealth to grow ultimately.
Absolutely.
So if you have a little bit more liquidity, look at your investment options, or even yourself, now that you have more cash, look at what businesses you can open.
Absolutely.
Because we need that for Botswana to start up businesses, create employment opportunities for people, So rather spend it on things that will actually add value to you in the future.
Absolutely. This is actually quite a good message. Thank you. I preach this every day. Somebody finally agrees with me. We need to actually wrap it up. We've actually included all the questions here without us, even me, necessarily having to ask too much. Kaone, what is your last word for Botswana right now? This is such good advice that, yes, the economy has been boosted. We have been given opportunities to access credit. Don't access credit, please, guys, unless absolutely necessary, and if you can actually afford it as well. If you don't need to, how about now you use that extra money to actually, like you're saying, invest. Look at your investment opportunities, guys. We've talked about this. Look at the other Suero TV videos where you can also invest in unit trust. You can actually invest in other investment products that can actually help you grow your money, so that you can actually get, like Kaone is saying as well, let's get into businesses, let's be self-sustainable, let's teach ourselves being self-sustainable. There's SIDA as well. SIDA is actually helping with boosting businesses for us to actually start our own businesses. Let's try that. What is your last word for Botswana, Kaone, if you're to encourage them, especially now, because I'm sure some of them are listening. They're like, okay, we do have extra cash, or I don't have a thing right now, I don't know what to do with my life, I just lost my job. People have lost jobs.
Absolutely.
What is your last word on that? What would you advise Botswana right now?
Botswana need to have a very long-term stance when it comes to their finances. As I said, it might seem, attractive right now to go and incur debt that is completely unnecessary. Exercise caution. Also make informed decisions. We actually have financial advisors out there whose role is to speak to you and help you manage your money, right? If you have a little bit more money due to this cut, I would say spend it on something that will actually add real value for you and generations to come in the future.
Absolutely.
So try investment investment opportunities. Try and take advantage of them. Try and ask questions, because information is actually free, right? Try and make very informed decisions. It could even be, maybe it doesn't have to be that sophisticated. It could even be you now increasing your premium for your retirement,
annuity.
Your
Absolutely,
annuity, right? So try and spend that money in such a way that it will actually add value to your life. If don't make short-term decisions that you're going to pay for later.
Absolutely.
So just take that approach that although savings, traditional savings won't yield much or will yield less, try and see what your options are out there, and add value to your life and your long-term wealth position.
Long-term. And thank you for mentioning long-term. That means we're not investing in anything that gives you returns in a short period of time. It's probably doesn't sound right.
Because Botswana love instant gratification.
So we need to watch that.
I can get 100,000 now
tomorrow,
and blow it, and next thing. Next year it's a different story, and you've got nothing to show for that money. So
absolutely
try and exercise caution. Try and make informed decisions, because there are people who that is their space. Try and make decisions that actually would add value to your life and the standard of your life in the long term as well, not just now.
I like that you're stressing that over and over again. It's so important, because this is what we're here for. We're trying to give you as much financial literacy information as you can. Educate yourself. This is what we're here for. Suero Consulting is here to help you with that as well. Please contact us if you need any sort of help regarding financial literacy or anything. Where can I go, Lorto? I want to invest. Where can I go? This is what we're here for. Thank you so much, Kaone, for coming and blessing us with your knowledge and gracing us with your presence. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
It's just fun. You did well. You really well.
Thank you so
you're
much.
flowing just fine. All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys.